Hey guys, it's AD.AshGirl1904 and I'm here with Addie. I know this is a kind of different setup. Kind of just didn't really film an intro because again, like I didn't film an outro for my last video. Everything was kind of wonky. I was like making too many videos and like I was gonna combine the two and then I didn't, and then I was like I'll just do it separately, and then chaos ensued. So yeah, I'm just popping in here to little handmade intro here on my phone. So yeah, so this video is going to be a DIY video. It's kind of like a mix match video, so it's partial DIYs that you can do with your dolls, and then you could do this as a DIY. I just did this as a DIY, but it's not really Christmassy. I just made a living room for my dollhouse. It's not actual wood, it's like made of foam and paper and stuff like that. So it's like a makeshift living room. I know there's videos about there on like box living rooms or like little makeshift rooms, makeshift bedrooms. So that's kind of what inspired by it. Yeah, because I have a lot of Christmas decorations and I really just wanted a place to put them all. That was kind of what inspired it. Last year, I know in the dollhouse, I kind of, since I don't fully have a kitchen, I just kind of like put the tree in the fireplace there and I was like, ta-da, living room, even though it was like living room, kitchen kind of area, which didn't really match. So yeah, I just was like, well, for the meantime, I'll just make a little makeshift living room out of like foam and stuff. So yeah. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy and let's jump into the video. Yeah. So for the first DIY, we will be making mini snowflakes. It's a really simple project. All you need is some paper, some scissors, and to fold and cut. So I didn't have any square paper, so I just took normal rectangular paper, folded it on the edge to make a little square, cut it. I used a paper cutter, but you can use scissors if you don't have a paper cutter. And it's really simple then. You just fold it 3 times. And then you just cut little shapes in it. So you can do little circles, diamonds. Just make sure you cut along, but like you cut it, but not on the edges as much, because if you cut it on the folded edge, then it's gonna literally fall apart. So it's best to just cut in little spots and just like not the whole entire thing. But you know, you can just experiment, make it really interesting. And then when you fold it open, it is a really cool little snowflake pattern. And so you can put these on like windows of your doll's rooms, or on like the ceiling, or like as little wall hangings. I did like that for my dolls because I thought it's just so cute. I have so many snowflakes in my house and on my windows, and I just thought this is the perfect little way to decorate the house that's really simple and really like cost efficient too. So that is the first DIY. So the next DIY is a cranberry garland. So I'm using this Stretch Magic 7.7 millimeter diameter string. I was going to use fishing wire, but it was too small. I didn't feel like losing the end and stuff. And so then I have these plastic beads that I got at my work, Joann's. They're 6 millimeters, so they'll fit. And I just thought these looked like doll-sized cranberries because they're real small. Because, you know, cranberries are like, I don't know, about like that size to us. Maybe they're a little small, but that's okay. They didn't really have like a good set of beads. But I still kind of wanted to at least try it and see what it looked like. And if not, then I probably would try to order some beads on like Line or something. So yeah, just kind of put them on a string and then wrap them on your Christmas tree and see what they look like. So this process did take a really long time, but I didn't exactly count. I was just like mindlessly doing it while like Snapchatting my friends. But make sure when you're done, you just tie off the edges in like multiple knots so it does not come apart. And I strung about around 240 beads because there was 2 packs and they had 120 beads in it. So yeah, it took a really long time, but I think it was just super worth it because it looked super cute against the like green in the Christmas tree. The third DIY is a mini paper chains. Again, super simple, really easy project that's very cost efficient. All you need is some red and green construction paper, or I mean any colors really if you wanted to like make it Christmassy or make it Advent colors or Hanukkah colors. It's super simple. I made these last year for a photo and I wanted to hang them up in my dollhouse, but I like didn't have enough, so I just decided to make extra. So yeah, really simple. You can cut the strips of paper with a paper cutter or like with scissors, and then you just tape them. So I didn't make mine that very long. It was maybe like 3-4 inches, and I just cut a bunch of strips out and then cut them in like groups of 3, and so it made like multiples at once. Then just tape them together and you can hang them up in your dollhouse by tape, or I hung them up by like little pegs and like little bits of tape. So yeah, super simple, super easy. I know I used to make these all the time as a kid, and we'd like write stuff on it or make it like a countdown to Christmas. It was super easy and just super cute and adorable. That adds just like little extra touches to your dollhouse. And this is what it looks like in the dollhouse. I didn't have any footage, so I just used an old picture that I took. So the next project was making miniature clay cookies. All you need for this project is some polymer clay. You can use like polymer clay that you can cook, Sculpey, anything like that. And some parchment paper, some mini cookie cutters that I got at Joann Fabrics, and some puffy paint. It's like 3D puffy paint. And so basically you just lay the parchment paper down, use masking tape to have it stay to the table, not scotch tape. The scotch tape did not hold up well. This just makes it easier when you're like cutting it all out and you're not messing up the table, and it's easy to transfer it to a baking sheet. So this was some old polymer clay that I had. I just happened to be like a beige color to look like cookie dough. It was really hard because it was kind of old, so I really had to mold at it for a while. Obviously this is sped up. But if it's too hard for you to roll, I definitely suggest getting Souffle Sculpey or Sculpey number 3. Those are a lot softer. And so I just basically rolled it out with a rolling pin. There is acrylic rolling pins that are used specifically for clay, but I just used this wooden one. And so just make sure it's super flat, and then just punch little cookie cutters in. I actually saved like the outside parts of it instead of scrapping it and making extra cookies. I did that for a few of them, so it like looked like it was dough that was like still being used. But yeah, I just did that multiple times and punched out all the cute little different cookies, and it was so adorable to do, honestly. Like, these are the perfect cookies for dolls. Absolutely loved it. And so here's the clay package. You know, it said cook it. My package specifically said to cook it at 275 degrees for 15 minutes. Your package may say something different or something similar. Just follow the instructions. So ignore my cat, he's talking a lot. And here is the clay about to go into the oven. And again, if you're a child, make sure you have adult supervision or have them help you cook this. There's my cat Little, and here's what it looked like when they were all done. They were hardened really well. I just, cleaned up some of the edges with my fingers, but they turned out really well. I actually was like really glad that none of them turned out really wonky or anything. And then here I am just painting them. So just kind of like you would with little icings, I just lightly applied pressure to the bottle and put puffy paint on it. This does stick together, like even when after it's dried, so fair warning of that when you're trying to store the cookies for later. But yeah, you can just do any designs really. I loved doing these little snowmen. They were so cute. And just really make sure that you're like spreading the paint around so it's not like super clumped in one area and then like really thin in the other area. And it doesn't have to be perfect because icing is not perfect. Cookies don't look perfect when they're frosted, so. And really it just takes like a steady, dainty hand to do all the little details and everything. just be patient with it, you know, have fun with it. You know, I did these polar bears here and they looked absolutely atrocious when they were like hardened. It didn't look like that white. It looked like clear and like frosty, and it was really stupid looking. So I didn't even end up using the polar bears. I did not like them at all. Their faces were weird. I was just like, ew, no, why? No. So horrible. But the gnomes, I really liked doing the gnomes. You know, just like made their hats all different and, you know, put little beards on them. You know, just a super fun way to experiment. I honestly was obsessed with how these turned out. And that is how you make the little miniature cookies. And if you guys want to go one step further, for the picture I was doing, I wanted to have little bags of icing, so I just took little Ziploc bags, filled it with puffy paint, and then put little rubber bands around the end. I didn't cut them open, so it wasn't like super messy. And I don't know how well they hardened because there's not a lot of air exposure to it, but for pictures and little props, it looked really cute. Just be careful of these and keep them in a safe place where they're not going to explode anywhere, you know? And here's how you make the orange garland. I was really inspired by like looking at old Victorian Christmas decorations and seeing like they dried orange slices they would make for garland or ornaments hanging on Christmas trees. They were super pretty. To get like the opaque effect, I decided to use shrink-ity ink, like shrink plastic. And again, you don't have to worry about these being perfect because they are orange slices and they're natural fruit, so sometimes they're just kind of wonky shaped, so don't worry about them being perfect. I got the specific shrink plastic from Amazon, but they probably sell it at any craft store. Doesn't matter. This one has like a frosted texture to it, which was actually kind of like neat, so it looked very textured when it was all cooked and everything. So obviously for this project you will need some shrink plastic, some colored pencils. It's optional, but you can print out a picture of an orange slice to better trace it, or you could freehand it, whichever way. I decided to just print it, and I printed it in black and white because my printer was really low on ink. So I just like looked and I saw like, oh, this is what this color would be and this is what this color would be. So it's best to tape the shrink-ity ink to the paper so it's not like moving around all the time. And then it's really easy. You just color from here. I colored the rim orange, the inside like a yellow, and then I did each little like ring slice a deep orange and just lightly shaded it in so it looked like the texture of an orange. And you can make them any colors you want, multicolors. I just, you know, did a couple, all one solid color, one few multiple colors, because again, when you dry these fruit, it's not all gonna look 100% the same. So you can do whatever, there's lots of artistic liberties with it. And the trick with shrink plastic also is to make sure that you're like doing anything in the same direction. I mean, so they are gonna end up wonky, depending on how they shrink. So like I'm gonna draw them so like this way. But if I made some that were this way, when they shrink, they're going to like stretch and shrink. So they will end up being different sizes. So I mean, I might do some of those just for fun. But mostly I will just do ones that are going the same direction. So if you're like, oh, I can fit more going this way, then have it go that way. Or, oh, I can fit more and I want them to be going this way, do it that way then. This was the hole punch I ended up using. It's like a little smaller than a typical hole punch. You could use a typical hole punch, but I decided to use this one because I thought it would fit well when it actually shrunk down to a smaller size, which it did work out really well for. So I'm doing a test of this one. I preheat the oven to 325. That's in degrees Fahrenheit. I got my parchment paper, got a little tray, and we're just gonna cook the one as a test to see if I have to either make it bigger or smaller. So let's see how this guy turns out. Okay, I put one in. It says 1 to 3 minutes, so I'm gonna go with 2. It takes a minute, but it's cool to see it shrivel up and stuff. Oh, look at it! Look at it! Oh my gosh! Oh, so cool. Okay, it's already gotten a lot smaller. It's got like a few more seconds. So I feel like 2 minutes should be good unless you're shrink-eating's certain kind and says otherwise. Alright, gotta go pull this out of the oven in 4, 3, 2, 1, beep beep beep. So do not touch it right away because it will be hot. But like for size comparison, I'm gonna let it cool for a hot sec and then I'm gonna see how it looks with the AG dolls. So, okay, it's still kind of warm to the touch. For size comparison, that's what it looks like. I feel like that's a really good size, actually. Just make sure you don't get it super close to the edge. So it doesn't like have a chance to break off. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through and do a bit, draw a bit more of these, however many you want in a garland. Let me see, centimeters, that would be 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters. That's how big this is. So yeah, and just make 10 million of these. I ended up making about 21 of these little orange slices on Trinky Dinks, and then the garland was like a little over 6 feet, maybe. I don't know. It was taller than me, so maybe it was like 5'9", 6 feet, somewhere in there. I didn't exactly count. But I just threaded a needle and used like little embroidery floss, like friendship bracelet kind of stuff, and just thread it through the oranges. And I think it worked out really well. The hole punch was like just the perfect size, and there was just a big enough eyelet, so it was like easy to string through. And I just added little drops of glue on the edge, and I just, so like when I spaced them out, they would stay spaced out. I put them about like 2 inches apart, and I actually think they turned out super cute. This is what they look like on the Christmas tree. My Christmas tree, I know, be looking kind of funky, but again, that's kind of how I envision Victorian Christmas trees when I've seen them in pictures and stuff and like illustrations. They're just kind of full, very full of stuff, you know. Now on to the living room. So I kind of set it up about how I wanted it to look. I was testing it out with like the size foam boards and how I wanted the walls to look. So I ended up just using foam board that I had got at Joann Fabrics. This little extra piece was an extra from when I was actually building my dollhouse, because I used the foam board for the side walls. And I was just like measuring of where I wanted everything to be, how the paper would have to overlap. I took the 2 foam board pieces that were the walls and taped them in the back together so they look really seamless. And then the floor is just made of cardboard. So I just cut up an old Amazon box and laid it out so that it would like puzzle piece and fit together right. I did overlap the walls and the flooring together, so that way they would be more sturdier in the back. Again, I'll just tape in the back. I taped the floors so that they were more sturdy and so that it had more for the paper to adhere to. And so that's like what it looked like before I covered it all up with paper. So it did overlap a bit, and I ended up cutting there on the seam, and I think it turned out really good. Now that everything was all put together, everything was glued and taped, I was just using the excess furniture I had to kind of like hold a place for where I wanted stuff to actually go. So I was using Addie's like school bench as a couch. And I was like, okay, this is a good size. This is probably where I'll rearrange and eventually put the couch. So I basically just used excess foam board and cut it to a good measurement. Again, as you can see, it's already kind of wonky. Not exactly exact. Not real good at cutting or measuring. So we did our best. So I just used 2 foam pieces and then glued and like taped them together so that they were really sturdy. Like I'm bending them here and it's not really moving. So I feel like that was a win. That was good. So then what I did was cut out these little pieces to be the armrest. They're about 5.5 by 2.5. And I'll just tape them to the side, kind of like that. I thought that they'd be a really good length, like for the doll. Like their hand kind of goes to about there. We'll see how it looks. So I'm just gluing it, but also I'm going to tape it just for extra support. They're not perfect by any means. Oh man, this one looks too short. It's just like ever so slightly too short. So now that everything's glued, I kind of realized that with how these knobs are, this couch is gonna be short. She's tiny. So I think I'm going to try to boost it up a bit with some like boxes. It's so close to fitting. So close. But I think I can make it work. So Wish me luck. So I think I figured it out. I kind of just like am puzzle piecing the last bit together. It's a little not as sturdy, but I think with some tape and stuff, I can fix that. So yeah. So next I didn't have any batting, so I decided to use old towels and kind of poof it up so that it would be squishy. I'll glue it on and then cover it. Hopefully I have enough of this fabric here that I bought at my work. This is a really cool, like this looks like a couch material. This looks like a couch that we used to have. So yeah, I think it's cool. So gluing time. It's a nice squishy couch. It's gonna be so cute. So after a lot of finagling, I think I finally got this half at least to lay right. So I started at the bottom, I glued here, and then I glued this part of the seat so this would lay flat. I glued a tiny bit here, and then I wanted there not to be like weird like bumps or seams. So I kind of like folded this edge inward and then down. And then I'm gonna kind of do the same with the back. So it's kind of like gonna be like this. So that part will be like glued. And then I'll just take the excess of it and then kind of make it look kind of flushed. So that way it like looks like it has a nice kind of seam, you know? So yeah, and then I'll just do that all on the other side and glue, and then I'll be done and I'll have a couch. I'm so excited, guys. Oh my gosh. So before I did glue anything, I did pin it in a few spots just to make sure that the fabric was like taut and pulled really tight. Again, this couldn't have been any more than like 1 yard of fabric, so it's pretty simple to make, really. So without giving a lot of what the living room looks like, because that's for the next video, I just wanted to show you guys how the couch turned out. Here's the back. You know, try to make it as seamless as possible. A lot of finagling and a lot of cutting, but it ended up covering. Again, this doesn't show, so it doesn't matter. Here's like what the sides look like. Will I ever add like cushions to this? Maybe. I think this looks like a nice base couch, and it'd be cool to add cushions there. But I don't know, because they sit really well on this. If it's too poofy, they might kind of slip off, you know. But yeah, I was gonna add like little knobs, like little feet for the couch, you know, but it was not sturdy enough, so I just thought it looked like this, and it's nice. I love this. I think it turned out really, really well. So now my grandma, Amiko doll, can sit and chillax. Let's focus on her. Little pillow, and I just think it looks super, super cute. I'm really, really happy with it. And then for funsies, like I said, I was going to take that little Target sack and make it into a little pillow. This is me, so you know, you just cut off the drawstring part of it and fill it with some stuffing. Leave a little bit at the top so you can fill the whole entire thing, and then I just like glued the hem of it so it would stay together, and it was just a cute little simple pillow. I think you can't even tell that it's hot glued. It turned out super, super cute. And then this was a tray that I got at like Myers. I also found that cool star there. Oh my gosh, AG star. So yeah, this was just a little tray that was like 12 inches by 8 inches. So it was, you know, a good size for a dollhouse. I just put it up and down, and then I painted these little bits of fossil wood and to act as a stain so it would match the same color. So just took some diluted brown paint and cut them with an X-Acto knife. Again, it's not perfect by any means whatsoever, but it worked, you know. So I just shoved it inside the little opening slats and I glued it. So again, glue job is kind of funky, but it works. It holds stuff. It acts like a really cool shelf. So thank you guys for coming along and watching me
DIY a bunch of stuff. I love crafting, okay? I live and breathe crafting. I literally work at a craft store. So if you guys want to see more future DIYs, please let me know. My process and the way I explain things, sometimes I feel like, is this getting the point across? Did they understand what I'm talking about? Just let me know in the comments if the way I describe things makes sense. But yeah, I'm definitely like really up to doing more DIY videos. I'm not perfect by any means necessary. You know, I'm just kind of mediocre at like all things crafting, whether that's sewing, crocheting, you know, I'm not like good at any one subject kind of thing. But yeah, if you guys want to see more DIYs, please let me know. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'm really trying to get this Christmas stuff out of the way. I'm so sorry. We are so sorry that it is taking so long. After this, we'll be decorating the dollhouse, and then I got one more video of opening something from a friend. So yeah. And then we'll kind of get into the normal swing of content. So yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and remember that dolls and imagination have no age. We will see you guys soon. Bye!